Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, October 9, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:55 p.m. Jamaica time, we can see that we're still monitoring Tropical Storm Jerry, which is now affecting portions of the Lesser Antilles, and we still have that area across the northern portion of North Atlantic, which now has a medium chance of development within the next 7 days just to the north of the Azores Islands. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see all of the clouds, showers and thunderstorms associated with Tropical Storm Jerry right here, affecting portion of the Lesser Antilles. And we can see the clouds spinning away associated with that code orange that has a low chance of development within the next 7 days. I want to know that if something should form off this code orange right here, the next name on the list after Jerry is Karen. Alright, so let us take a look back at what's taking place here regarding Tropical Storm Jerry. So the latest infrared shows the deep burst of convection, especially across the southern side of the circulation. Before the sun went down, we saw where the circulation was located. As you can see, the circulation is right here pushing away towards the northwest. We see it quickly spinning and pushing off towards that direction, and we see the thunderstorms still being sheared off towards the south and east, leaving back a lot of lightning down in here just to the east of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia. They're definitely getting some bad weather out to sea as we speak. I mean, look at the deep convection. All of these reds into the blacks, into the grays, into the purples represent some deep convection, even into the lightning. All of that represents the highest cold cloud tops, as you can see here. This is as bad as it gets. So if there are any fisher folk out at sea or any ships out there, they're definitely getting some bad weather as we speak. A lot of deep convection, heavy rainfall out there right now, some of it already affecting portions of Martinique, St. Lucia, even all the way down into portions of Barbados as well. And regarding the latest here from the Hurricane Center, they're stating that as of 8 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, which is actually 7 p.m. Jamaica time, it is now packing maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. Only that systems that pack anywhere from 39 to 73 miles per hour winds are classified as tropical storm. So it's a medium range tropical storm right there, as you can see, and it is still packing quite a punch. We see how far the tropical storm force winds extend, even although not really on the western side. They have tropical storm warnings and watches up for portions of the northern Lesser Antilles, the Leeward Islands for the most part. We also see the projection of the system as of right now moving towards the west northwest at 18 miles per hour. Should start making more of a northwestward, then a northerly turn, eventually becoming a hurricane before it turns right here just before it makes it closest pass to Bermuda. Very interesting system indeed. And we see that there's still a lot more rainfall to come. All of these light greens across St. Lucia and Martinique into Puerto Rico. That's anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, about the same as 25 to 50 millimeters of rainfall. All of these greens, so we're talking about anywhere from Dominica to Guadeloupe, Montserrat, Saba, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, the US and British Virgin Islands. That's representing anywhere from 2 to 4, maybe 50 to 100 millimeters of rainfall. While Barbuda should be getting on the most rainfall over there, as represented by the yellows, anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. That's about the same as 100 to 150 millimeters of rainfall. And these rainfall forecast maps aren't 100% accurate, so there could be even more rainfall affecting Montserrat than Barbuda, or Guadeloupe than Barbuda. It all depends on where the deepest convection and the heaviest rainfall actually takes place. As of right now, the heaviest thunderstorms are still off to the east of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, right in here, and eventually they're gonna be pushing up towards the northwest, following the center of circulation. Alright, so we need to talk about what's happening on the surface map and the latest visible satellite imagery for this evening. So first of all, we have the surface map right here. So we're loading up the surface map. Okay, here we go. So the surface map, and we're also loading up the visible satellite imagery of the Atlantic for this evening. So the surface map is showing that we have a tropical wave right here, just to the west of Jamaica. There's actually another tropical wave across the central Caribbean, currently affecting Hispaniola, and we see the circulation associated with tropical storm Jerry right in here. Another tropical wave just to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. All of these entities being steered from east-west, if not southeast to northwest, all courtesy of the ridges of high pressure to the north. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost the sunlight, we can definitely make out the clouds associated with all of the entities that we just mentioned. First of all, the clouds associated with that tropical wave to the west of us, clouds associated with the tropical wave across Hispaniola. I can't really make out the clouds there. We can definitely make out the clouds associated with tropical storm Jerry right over here, and the clouds more so to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands associated with that tropical wave. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus your attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, October 9, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of some central and western parishes during the afternoon on Thursday. And we know that central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. Or western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 6:05 p.m., the infrared satellite imagery was posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but they were also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see that at around 6:05 p.m, it highlighted that we definitely got on the thunderstorm activity, mainly across sections of some central and western parishes for sure, the very areas that we predicted that it would affect. And the visible satellite imagery also shows all of the clouds popping up across these central and western parishes. And look how the upper level wind shear from the south and the southwest was pushing the clouds up south towards the north, definitely bring more overcast skies to sections of some northern parishes. So those areas that were predicted to get rain definitely got that rain. We're talking about sections of eastern Hanover, sections of St. James, southern Trelawney, southern St. Anne, sections of western Portland, southern St. Mary, northern St. Andrew, northern St. Catherine, northern Clarendon, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth, and even eastern Westmoreland definitely got in on the thunderstorm activity today. And unfortunately, we don't have the Jamaican Doppler radar to show. It glitched out today, still glitched out for the past couple of days. But the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showed that this afternoon it definitely got cloudy and windy in the Flat Bridge area. We saw that the river changed color as well. Rio Cobra definitely turned a murky shade, just to indicate that we've been definitely getting on some rainfall upstream. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite the picture for we might have had that rainfall today, especially across sections of some central and western parishes. And if we reload the latest still image, because we don't really have much in the way of comments to show, so we're going to be looking at what's taking place right now. Reloading the latest Still image from the Weather Nerds website, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery, and the latest Cayman radar imagery. We want to see exactly what's taking place right now. Alright, so the latest still image here from the Weather Nerds website is showing 0005 UTC, which is actually 7:05 p.m. So this just came out about 5, 10, 15, 17 minutes ago. I wonder where the latest one is. It should be showing the 7:15 imagery, but it's still showing the 7:05 imagery. Alright, nonetheless, we don't see much of anything affecting the island right now, just some leftover cirrus clouds in the whites and the blues. We do see some thunderstorms, however, just to the south of St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. The Jamaican Doppler radar still glitched out, so it's not showing what's happening right now. The Cuban Doppler radar looks glitched out, so it's not even loading. But we're glad to see that the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar is back up and running. It's been glitched out, showing September 30 for the past 8 days or 10 days. Either way, as of right now, we're seeing some rainfall just to the west of Guantanamo across section of southeastern Cuba. We're also seeing where we had some rainfall just to the north of St. Mary, some of this activity just to the north of Portland pushing down towards Portland. And it's actually making sense, because if we look back at the latest visible before we lost the sunlight, we can actually make out some of these rain bands right over here that are pushing towards Portland. So look closely, you see some clouds that are pushing towards Portland right there. So it's actually making sense with what we're seeing on the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar. All of these rain bands right there pushing towards northeastern Portland. The Cayman radar, on the other hand, not really showing much of anything across western Jamaica. We do see some rain bands right here to the south of, well, to the far south of Westmoreland, to the southwest of St. Elizabeth, some isolated shores to the southeast of the Cayman Islands, and to the south of the western portions of Cuba. Regarding what's taking place right now, the live camera right here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel showing what's taking place around there in Barbican. You can see people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing to do with bad weather taking place right now, and that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18:00 on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday. And we can see Jamaica shaded in the grays as well as the slight yellows. That represents average to at least 1 degree Celsius above average temperature. I know that the average temperature for the month of October across Jamaica is around 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we take a look at the thermometer, 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.6 degrees Celsius. So that should be the temperature forecast for Jamaica on Friday, anywhere from 31.6 to 32.6 degrees Celsius at most. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual, because there are not going to be any outages across the island according to my GPS online Twitter page, so we're grateful for that. But the tips right here as usual, you know, it's Friday, so dress down, wear lightweight clothing, and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine, as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And look at the dry air extending from Africa across the main development region. Look at the dry air across the northern portion of North Atlantic. We know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain, and we're glad that we're not really seeing much of that across the Caribbean, the Gulf, the waters in and around Central America, or the southern main development region, because now that the dry air is the negative. We don't want that. We want the moist air with the positive. We want more of the gray cloud, that we get more of the rainfall to keep our temperatures down and to keep water in our pipes for sure. Regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days, we can see that October 10, October 11, and October 12 should continue to keep Jamaica in the clear, even although we have a huge plume of Saharan dust across the northern main development region pushing through. You can see that majority of that is going to be missing the Caribbean in general, and we're grateful for that, because know that the Saharan dust can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses, asthma, sinusitis in persons. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, Still seeing that the lowest wave should be right here across the central to the western Caribbean. The light shades of blues that represents what we see here on the key on the right. That's anywhere from 0.5 for meter wave height all the way up to 1 meter wave height. And that's because where we have Tropical Storm Jerry right now, we should be getting some high wave heights. All of these purples into the pinks into the burgundies representing anywhere from 2 all the way up to 6 meter wave heights. And that's because of the strong tropical storm force wind spinning around the center of circulation right over here. A lot of southeasterly flow expected from the system as it pushes to the north of the Leeward Islands tomorrow, averaging all the way up to the tropical storm force winds in the north. While Jamaica's wave forecasts are still experiencing some low waves, 0.3 of a meter wave height to the north of Portland, 0.2 of a meter wave height to the north of St. Anne, 0.1 of a meter wave height to the north of Hanover, 0.3 of a meter wave height to the south of Westmoreland, to the south of Clarendon, 0.4 of a meter wave height, while to the south of St. Thomas, 0.3 of a meter wave height expected. And that's because of the weak southeasterly winds that are expected tomorrow. So we see the flow of the wind. So anything that comes off of the sea from the southeast could definitely bring some rainfall to section of some southern parishes. And we also see where the air is expected to pile up, especially across sections of some northern parishes. So that is where we could have some of the low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds when we have that daytime heating. And to make matters worse, we're still going to be getting on that upper-level wind shear from the southwest tomorrow. So it's definitely going to be favoring more of the thunderstorms, especially across sections of some northern parishes. So if we actually get thunderstorms tomorrow, expect more of this. Cloud tops shearing off towards the north. And the thing is, most of the thunderstorms during the afternoon will be formulating across the north coast for sure. So look out for that afternoon of rainfall. But this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 11 a.m. Jamaica time. And at that time, we're already seeing some blues popping up across the island. That represents rainfall. The Euro showing rainfall across the eastern end to the western end. GFS more so the central to the western end. We'll see how that plays out. Then by around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time, both maps are in agreement that rainfall should be affecting most parishes, the eastern, the central, and the western parishes. And if you look closely, the most significant rainfall in the darkest blues should be across the north coast for sure. So if you're across Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, look out for rainfall. But there could also be rainfall on the south coast as well. Maybe sections of St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, London, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with this forecast. So if you have to go out tomorrow, please ensure that you bring your umbrellas with you, even though it's looking like it's going to be affecting the north coast even more than the south coast. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps agree on this. The Euro going up to at least 0.61 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS going up to at least 0.56 of an inch of rainfall. Whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of October. And we know that this is the wettest month of the year for most parishes. In Trelawney, whose bar graph is being shown right here, we usually receive up to 182 millimeters of rainfall in October. That's about the same as 7.2 inches of rainfall. In Manchester, whose bar graph is being shown right here, we usually receive 139 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 5.5 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of October or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com and that website to show you that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as you look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we just looked at Friday's forecast. Now it's time to look at Saturday. And as you can see, 12th and Saturday, which as we know is about 7 a.m., has some rainfall across the southeastern end of the island of Jamaica. Then on Saturday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And this is where Tropical Storm Jerry should be located, possibly a hurricane by then, just to the southeast of Bermuda. What does the GFS show? First of all, for Saturday morning, we see the rainfall more so to the southeast of us, not across the southeastern end like what the Euro showed. Then on Saturday afternoon, we're also seeing that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on Sunday morning? On Sunday morning, we're actually seeing rainfall still affecting southern and eastern parishes, just like on Saturday morning. Then on Sunday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Sunday morning, rainfall more so across the western and the southern end. Then on a Sunday afternoon, look at that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Looking like a wet Saturday and Sunday for sure. Interesting. What do we see on Monday morning? Some isolated showers across the southern and eastern end of Jamaica. Monday afternoon, rainfall still across eastern, central, western parishes. What does the GFS show? Monday morning, rainfall across the southern portion of the island. Monday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes. What do we see on Tuesday morning? Tuesday morning, rainfall across some southern parishes. Tuesday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes. What does the GFS show? Tuesday morning, rainfall across the eastern, central, western parishes. And look at this. Some crazy rainfall to the west of us, and even an isobar starting to pop up within the 7-day time frame. Interesting. What is this near Honduras and Nicaragua? Don't really see it on the Euro. We'll see it actually plays out. Next, we're going to be looking at Tuesday afternoon on the GFS. We're actually seeing some moisture across eastern, northern, and western parishes. What do we see on Wednesday morning on the Euro? I'm not really seeing much of anything. On Wednesday afternoon, though, we're seeing rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes, and we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Thursday, October 16. Don't really see much of anything across Jamaica, but on the GFS, Wednesday morning, some isolated showers in and around the island. Wednesday afternoon, some rainfall mainly across sections of some northern and western parishes. And look at where the GFS has the possible system about to hit portion of Belize into the Yucatan. Interesting that this is showing within the 7-day time frame, but the fact that the Euro isn't showing much of anything, it makes sense that even although it is within the next 7 days, the Hurricane Center really didn't highlight much of anything on their 7-day outlook over here. Trust me, if the Euro had shown it and the GFS didn't show anything, the Hurricane Center would definitely highlight it. The Hurricane Center definitely has a higher what should I say, trust in what the Euro shows more than the GFS, because trust me, the GFS loves to drop things. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow the GFS drops this system altogether, especially if the Euro doesn't say anything. But trust me, if the Euro shows something, Hurricane Center will definitely be on top of it. Alright, so regarding the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Thursday, October 16. And we're still seeing wherever we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks, that's anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 6 inches of rainfall right here expected for northern South America into Central America. The snail trail of where tropical storm Jerry should be passing right here just to the east of the Leeward Islands. And we still have a lot of moisture expected across the Greater Antilles, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, into the Bahamas for sure. And we clearly see that that's not only the Euro that's showing it, but the GFS is showing the same thing. Very interesting. We'll see it actually plays out over the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days for Jamaica, let us load up these maps, because it's not only about the Caribbean, it's also about our country for sure. And as you can see here, we're loading this up for the Euro, and we're also loading this one up for the GFS. And as you can see here, from now up until Thursday, October 16, the Euro is still showing the yellows into the oranges, into the slight pinks. That represents anywhere from 30 all the way up to maybe 80 millimeters of rainfall, especially across the north coast. The GFS, on the other hand, for the next 7 days, going all the way up to the at least the oranges, so anywhere from maybe the greens, that's 15 all the way up to what, 60 millimeters of rainfall at most. You're still more robust with these isolated pockets of pinks that represents up to 80 millimeters on the north coast. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted if thought occurs on our other social media platforms if God spares life. Alright, so regarding what's happening here across the rest of the Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean definitely getting a lashing right now from the outer bands of Tropical Storm Jerry. We can also see some moisture just to the south of Jamaica pushing towards west, associated with that tropical wave. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery of the northeastern Caribbean, let us see what's taking place over here near Puerto Rico, Not really see much of anything near Puerto Rico, but look at where we have the outer bands of Jerry right here to the east of Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique. A lot of heavy rainfall in the yellows, oranges, reds. That's crazy. And if we load these images from earlier today, we saw where we had some rainfall across sections of central to southwestern Puerto Rico. If we take a look at the Barbados radar looking festive as we speak. Look at the moderate to heavy rainfall associated with the outer bands of Jared just to the north of Barbados. Although they're getting on a nice southerly flow with some light to moderate to even some slightly heavy rainfall from the outer band. Heavy rainfall like that actually affecting the Grenadines, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Martinique as we speak, with more to come. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see the rainfall over here associated with Jerry. We can also see some rainfall across northeastern Venezuela, northwestern Venezuela, Colombia, southern Florida, western Cuba right here, east of Nicaragua right here as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the year and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall should be right here just to the east of the Leeward Islands. It even heads up into the slight blues that represents maybe up to 10, maybe even 12 inches. That is crazy. Some flash flooding definitely going to be possible. You also see the greens into the yellows, into the oranges, and the reds represents anywhere from an inch of rainfall or less for portions of Florida, northern Bahamas, western to central Cuba, the Yucatan, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, section of the ABC Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, sections of Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, section of Guyana into Suriname and French Guiana. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Regarding what's taking place here across the eastern Pacific, we no longer have tropical storm or tropical depression octave. It has now become post-tropical, just like we stated it would yesterday. We still have tropical storm Priscilla just to the west of the Cabo San Lucas Baja Peninsula right over here. And we now have newly formed tropical storm Rainfall now hugging the coast of Mexico. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can't even make out the clouds associated with the octave anymore, but we can definitely make out the clouds associated with Priscilla right here just to the west of Cabo San Lucas, the clouds associated with tropical storm Raymond right here. A lot of deep convection hugging the coast of Mexico right in there. And if we take a look at the latest regarding Priscilla, now packing 45 mile per hour winds, it's a low-end tropical storm pushing off towards the north, should become a tropical depression by around Saturday and dissipate. And as you can see here, well, it should be a tropical depression by Friday and then eventually dissipate by Saturday at 11 a.m. And we see that it is now moving off towards the north-northwest at 8 miles per hour. Should make more of a northerly and then north-northeasterly turn, eventually possibly even making landfall over here. And regarding the latest on tropical storm Raymond, it is now packing 45 mile per hour winds. We see that there's a tropical storm warning up for coastal Mexico. Makes sense given the proximity of the system to land. 45 mile per hour winds, just like Priscilla, so it's a low end tropical storm as well. Currently moving towards west northwest at 15 miles per hour. Should maintain that tropical storm status all the way up to Saturday at midday, back to depression, and then it should affect Cabo San Lucas and Mexico in general. Regarding what's taking place across the Western Pacific, the Indian Ocean, nothing. But the Western Pacific still active. Still watching Typhoon Halong, now just to the east of Japan, shooting away, and newly formed tropical storm Nakri right here to the south of Japan. So Halong right here quickly moving away, and Nakri right here to the south of Japan. The latest image here of Halong quickly pushing off, starting to be sheared out as well. Now packing 70 knot wind. Now that systems that pack anywhere from 65 to 83 knot winds are classified as category 1 hurricane, so it's a category 1 hurricane still. Regarding tropical storm and Nakri right here, just to the southeast of the Japanese islands right over here. Not really looking that impressive as a tropical storm. That's due to some northeasterly wind shear, but as you can see, the intensity should go up 35, 40, 45, 55, 80 knots. So if it's gonna be making it up to 80 knots when it's making its closest sparks to Tokyo right here, that should make this system up to a category 1 typhoon, a category 1 hurricane eventually. And as you can see here, it's gonna be making a similar trek to what Halong did, basically curving northward and northeastward and staying out to sea just to the south of Japan. And I'm sure they're grateful for that. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.